I started performing poems in 2011. My brain was a swarm of bees ready to pollinate every idea that sprouted in my thoughts. The woman who ran the poetry slam back then instituted a point deduction for reading off paper, so I regularly memorized poems before they had fully bloomed. It's 2024 now. The news and the bare faces and the massive gatherings tell me that the pandemic is over, that we're past all the things that made my anxiety spiral into a different beast. My brain disagrees loudly every time I get out of bed, my favorite place to remain socially distant. Yesterday, I froze in my kitchen because I needed to wash my hands before I put away the groceries. But I needed to put away the groceries before I showered. I needed to shower before the germs from my clothes got on the carpet and traveled throughout the house. So I stood there, unable to answer my friend's text message for like an hour because my hands needed to be washed again. The thought of dirty fingers on my phone screen made me want to cry. As I walked to this poetry slam, I hugged the outside of the sidewalk every time a stranger passed me. What if they're sick? It's hard to tell sometimes. What if I get sick? What if I die? What if? I can feel the germs crawling up my body and I suddenly regret leaving my house. Most days, I find myself exhausted by the way my brain runs in circles, creating monsters out of the most mundane things and indebting me to my rituals. My OCD won't give me space to memorize anything, especially not a poem I wrote less than 48 hours before bringing it to this stage. But there's still this small voice in the back of my head making me feel ashamed for not knowing this shit by heart. In 2011, I tried to tell the woman running the poetry slam that punishing people for not memorizing their work was ableist. No one wants to hear that. But back then, I didn't have my own experience to paint a more personal picture. I hadn't yet told my sister I couldn't go to her wedding because the large crowds would cause me panic attacks. Back then, I hadn't yet cried over the cracked skin of my hands while washing them for the 5th time just to get it right. I wonder what that lady would make of the fact that I can finally talk about my OCD on stage because I have a piece of paper in my hands. If she ever tries to tell another person that not to use the tools that make their life a little easier, I would have to tell that person to say, ha ha ha.